Hey, how are you today? I hope you are doing well. In this video, I'm gonna show how to generate images locally in your own PC using Stable Diffusion. Stable Diffusion is a text-to-image machine learning model trained and provided by Stability AI. Stable Diffusion is open source and free to use. In order to use Stable Diffusion model, we need computing power, and that computing power can be either a service in the internet, for example Dream Studio by Stability AI, or if we have a decent graphics card, we can utilize our own PC. In order to generate image locally in our own machine using Stable Diffusion model, we need a tool called Stable Diffusion WebUI. Stable Diffusion WebUI tool is available as a GitHub repository. By default, WebUI tool will download and use Stable Diffusion version 1.5. Later in this video, I will show how to download and use Stable Diffusion version 2.1. In order to download Stable Diffusion models, we need to create an account in Hugging Face. Go to huggingface.co and sign up. In order to install and use Stable Diffusion WebUI tool, we need to install Python and Git. At the time of recording this video, WebUI tool is tested with Python 3.10.6. Go to this URL, scroll down and download Windows Installer 64-bit. Next, go to this URL and download Git. All the links will be given in the video description. As you can see, I have downloaded Python and Git. Now I will install one by one. Make sure you check this add Python 3.10 to path. I will speed up in order to skip the installation process. Installation is done. Next, we need to clone this Stable Diffusion WebUI GitHub repository. Go to this URL, the link will be given in the video description. Click on the code, select SSH, click on the copy icon. I have created a folder called text to image tool. I will open a terminal here. I will type git clone command and then Ctrl+V in order to paste the URL I copied previously. Press enter. Cloning is done. Now I will go to Stable Diffusion WebUI folder. If I double click to run this WebUI user.bat file, it will download and install necessary things. Before running it, I will edit to add few flags. This Xformers flag will speed up. This auto launch flag will automatically launch WebUI tool in the default browser, and this theme flag will set dark theme. Make sure there is a space here. I will also add git pull here in order to check for any updates. Save and close the bat file. Now I will double click to run it. As you can see, it is downloading and installing all the necessary tools and frameworks. As I mentioned before, Stable Diffusion WebUI tool will download and use Stable Diffusion version 1.5 by default. Currently, it is downloading. Installation is done and the Stable Diffusion WebUI tool is launched in the default browser. As you can see, there are many settings. I will try to explain very briefly. All you need to do, understand the basics, play with it, and eventually you would be able to figure out what works best for you. On the top left, we have Stable Diffusion checkpoint. A checkpoint is basically a trained model that would be used by this WebUI tool to generate images. If I click on this drop down, currently we have only one model, and this version 1.5 model was downloaded by this WebUI tool during the installation. Later I will download 2 more models and those models will show up here. Regarding model file type, there are 2 types of extensions, .cftensors and .ckpt. If you Google it, what is the difference between .cftensors and .ckpt, you will find out that cftensors are safe. It would not contain any malicious code, but .ckpt might contain malicious code. If you download model with ckpt extension from a trusted site like Hugging Face, it should not be any problem. Just be careful that do not download model files from some random websites. Depending on the training, a model can be either base model or fine-tuned model. Base models are models that are published by Stability AI, and if anyone train the base model further in order to fine-tune for a specific purpose, it would be called fine-tuned model. Later I will download one fine-tuned model and show how to use it. Next we have multiple tabs, and by default text to image tab is selected. As a beginner, we need to focus on text to image and settings tab. Later I will show how to change few settings. Next we have prompt and negative prompt section. Prompt is the instruction to describe what are the features we want, and negative prompt is the instruction to describe what are the things we do not want. Let me give an example of prompt and negative prompt. If I click this orange generate button without entering anything in the prompt and negative prompt section, random images will be generated. Instead of random images, I want cat pictures. As you can see, I entered some text in the prompt and negative prompt section. I will click the generate button again. And this time it gave me cat pictures. If you search Google, there are many articles regarding how to craft good prompt. I would like to mention one thing, that is, depending on your PC configuration, it might take some time to generate images. I got NVIDIA RTX 4090, that's why it does not take longer for me to generate images. Next we have sampling method and sampling steps. Sampling refers to the process of selecting a subset of data points from a larger dataset. The goal is to construct a smaller dataset that is representative of the larger set, while reducing the computational complexity and memory requirement for analysis. There is a very good article in StableDiffusionArt.com regarding sampling method. The link will be given in the video description. Regarding sampling steps, in simple terms, it is the number of times to remove noise. For some sampling methods, image quality will increase in proportion to sampling steps. Let me show an example. I will select Euler A and set sampling steps to 10. I will click generate button. As you can see, the image quality is not good. But if I increase sampling steps and generate again, this time the image quality is good. Increasing sampling steps will require more computational power, therefore image generation process will take more time. As a beginner, use default sampling steps, which is 20, and use sampling method dpm ++sd keras. Next we have 3 checkboxes. Restore faces is for fixing any defects in the face area. Tiling is for generating pattern related images. For example, you might want to generate an image that contains multiple copies of the same shape to create some textures. High-res fix is for upscaling. As you can see, by default image width and height is set to 512 by 512. That is because most of the models are trained with 512 by 512 images. If you want to generate high resolution images, you need to use high-res fix. The WebUI tool comes with few upscaler models. You might need to download appropriate upscaler models. Upscaler models are available here. The link will be given in the video description. As a beginner, keep these checkboxes unchecked. Once you get used to, you can play with these settings. On the right side of image dimension sliders, we have base count and base size. Base count is the number of times to generate image, and base size is the number of images to be generated at the same time. The total number of images will be base count multiplied by base size. Let me show an example. If I set base count to 4 and base size to 2, total 8 images will be generated. I will click generate button. As you can see, 8 images were generated. Below the image dimension sliders, we have CFG scale. It is a number that indicates how much the entered prompt should be followed. The higher the number, the more the generated images will adhere to the prompt. Generally, less than 10 is recommended. As a beginner, use default CFG scale value, which is 7. Next, we have seed. Seed is an initial number for noise generation. By default, -1 is used, which means a random number will be used each time you generate image. Seed is useful if we want to have repeatable results. For example, many online users share their prompts with seed value so that you can use the same prompt and same seed value to reproduce the image. On the right side of seed input field, there are two icons. If I click on the green recycle icon, it will reuse the previously used seed. If I click on the dice icon, it will set the seed back to the default -1. Next, we have script. By default, it is set to none. As a beginner, do not change it for now. Next, below the generate button, we have 5 icons and styles drop down. The bin icon is for clearing the prompt. I will click on the bin icon. As you can see, the prompt and negative prompt input fields are empty. The white arrow icon is for reading prompt and generation parameters from the last generation. As you can see, currently prompt and negative prompt fields are empty. If I click on the white arrow icon, it will insert the prompt and negative prompt from my last generation. The save icon is for saving a prompt as a style, and the load icon is for loading the selected styles from the styles drop down. Let me show what I mean. Let's say I would like to save my current prompt as a style. I will click on the save icon, give it a name, and my prompt was saved as a style. If I click on the refresh icon and click on the drop down, the saved style will show up here. I will clear my prompt and click on the drop down again. From the drop down, I will select the style I saved and click on the load icon. As you can see, my prompt was loaded. The middle icon is called show hide extra networks. If I click on it, it will bring up a panel with 4 tabs. As a beginner, skip it for now. You can play with it later. Next, below the image output section, we have 6 buttons. If you click on the folder icon, it will open image output directory in which generated images are being saved. The save button is for saving output images and generation parameters. Click on the save, then go to Stable Diffusion WebUI folder, go to log folder, go to images, and here the images were saved and generation parameters was saved as CSV. The zip button is for saving output images as a zip file. Click on zip, then go back to log folder, go to images. As you can see, the output images was saved as a zip file. The next 3 buttons, send to image, send to in paint, and send to extras, will send the selected images to the corresponding tabs. Let me show what I mean. I will select an image, then click on send to image. As you can see, the selected image was sent to image tab. Here we can upscale this image to increase the resolution. I will make another video on generating high resolution images using SDXL model. Similarly, if I click on send to extras, the selected image will be sent to extras tab. As I mentioned before, as a beginner, let's focus on text to image tab. Once you get used to, you can play with other tabs as well. Now let's make some changes in the settings tab. Click on settings, click on stable diffusion. As you can see, there are many settings here. The third one is called SDVAE. SD stands for stable diffusion and VAE stands for variable autoencoder. VAE removes noise and improves color of the generated images. Currently it is set to automatic, which is confusing. That's why I would like to set it to none. None means the default VAE that comes with the model itself will be used. Mention that all models comes with a default VAE. Click on apply settings, click on reload UI. Sometimes using a separate VAE other than the default one might improve the image quality. Let me show you how to use a separate VAE. Go back to settings tab, click on the user interface, scroll down. In the quick settings list section, type SD_VAE. Select SD_VAE, scroll up, click apply settings, reload UI. As you can see, now we have SD_VAE drop down on the right side of checkpoint drop down. From here we can select a separate VAE. Currently we have only two options, none and automatic. Next I am gonna download a VAE model and that will show up here. Go to this URL, the link will be given in the video description. Make sure you are already logged in. Click files and versions, click on the download icon, go to Stable Diffusion WebUI folder, go to models folder, go to VAE, put the downloaded VAE model here. In the WebUI tool, click on the refresh icon on the right side of VAE drop down menu. Click on the drop down menu. As you can see, the downloaded VAE model is available here. Select it. Now the WebUI tool will use the downloaded VAE instead of the default VAE that comes with the model. Now let's download two more models, Stable Diffusion 2.1 from Hugging Face and a fine-tuned model Landscape Realistic Pro from civitai.com. After downloading the models, go to Stable Diffusion WebUI folder, go to models, go to Stable Diffusion and put those models here. Now in the WebUI tool, click on refresh icon on the right side of checkpoint drop down. Click on checkpoint drop down. As you can see, those two models are showing here. Now let's generate some images using Stable Diffusion 2.1 model and Landscape Realistic fine-tuned model. From checkpoint drop down menu, I will select Stable Diffusion 2.1. It might take some time to load. From SD_VAE drop down, I will select none because I would like to use the default VAE that comes with Stable Diffusion 2.1. Stable Diffusion 1.5 model is trained with 512 by 512. On the other hand, Stable Diffusion 2.1 model is trained with 760 by 760. So I will change the image dimension. Now I will generate the images. Finally, I will select Landscape Realistic fine-tuned model. I will generate again. Finally, I would like to mention a very important point about generating human images, especially female images. Make sure you put keywords like dressed, clothes in the prompt section and adult related keywords like this in the negative prompt section. Otherwise, it will generate adult content. That's all for this video. Hope I covered most of the basics. I will make another video on generating high resolution images using SDXL model. Thanks for watching. See you next time.